Hi, Michael.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Michael, it's always so exciting to talk to you because I learned something coming out of each of our conversations. A little bit about Michael. Michael's a very, he calls himself my best candidate on the market. So he definitely is because I just love how he goes to market. And I've asked Michael to share a little bit about his biggest strengths. Michael calls himself a sales innovator. He's got 25 years of sales leadership experience in the enterprise software sales space. And he does things quite differently, and he'd like to share how he goes to market through the art of storytelling. He does things quite differently because he's very passionate about the art of storytelling, and he believes that by taking customers through that journey, they see things from a different perspective. And if you're a sales professional wanting to do things differently in that enterprise space, you want to be listening to this. Michael also has some great experience having worked for companies like Oracle, Info. Recently, he's been a sales innovator, doing various presentations and educating businesses on different fronts. So thank you, Michael, for taking the time to share the art of storytelling. And I know you've got a little presentation put together, so over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Reina. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'll make my humble contributions to storytelling. There are many great storytellers on the market today, but obviously storytelling is becoming an increasingly more important function and skill to have to differentiating your selling and the sales experience to the client so you stand out. So for today's session, I've created a little presentation to show you a real story, and then also talk a little bit about why we need stories to sell, and some of the best practice that you can take on board when you go out and then create a story. So I will just share my presentation here now. So yes, welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about how you can differentiate your selling through storytelling. My name is Michael Schildhardt. I work, as you mentioned, Reina, in sales, and have been doing that for quite some years. And most recently, it's been in a business development function responsible for growing product revenue, and that involves go-to-market strategies, training sales reps, and go out and sell actively with them to ensure that customers clearly understand the value and outcomes they can achieve from technology. And as you mentioned, when you differentiate your sales to go beyond feature, function, and price, then it's kind of like innovating. So I specialize in doing that. As you mentioned, yes, I've been with Oracle in this business development function in the past, 7 years actually. Prior to that, I was with Info, focusing on marketing, automation, one-on-one marketing, and personalizing journeys for customers through technology. And prior to that, I was with Microsoft, focusing on sales productivity and CRM capabilities. So today's agenda is, first of all, the whole reason why we need storytelling. And then I'm going to show you a practical example of a fictitious candidate, the Star Casino, that I've created for the purpose of our session today, and then talk a bit about storytelling best practices. Now, first of all, why do we need storytelling? Well, most companies today, they work really hard on getting their sales reps to book in meetings with clients and then go out and convince them about their offering. To do so, they have a corporate presentation that rely upon market research, and then they tie back the challenges in an industry to the propositions of their product or solutions and how that can help the client achieve better outcomes. You show a demo, and then differentiation is often found in terms of the feature of the product, the function of the product, and the price. But there's a bit of a challenge with this because many sales reps can do this and take this approach to clients, and we don't want to compete on price because that affects the margins and it affects the commission as well to us. So we really can focus on the value and the outcomes we can deliver to a client. We can elevate the conversation and also create bigger deals. And this specific thing about storytelling works best in complex deal settings. So with storytelling, what you can do in terms of augmenting your traditional sales approach is to create an educated point of view about your client you're trying to convince about your offering, and then stand out against the competitors. Because of course, specifically in the IT industry, many vendors offer the same kind of capabilities. So how do you really stand out? It comes down to the sales experience that you can deliver to the client. So you really meet them at that point where they are at in terms of understanding their own challenges, the opportunities they have, and then teach them something they didn't know. When you do that, you can add value and then be perceived as a trusted advisor. So you want to understand the customer you're working with through industry research and speaking to the different stakeholders, of course, that you know on the accounts. Then when you want to create a story, then pick a persona, and that can be the client's customer, the client's employees, or the client's suppliers. And typically, choosing the client's customers is the easiest way to go about this, to create an outside-in perspective about how their engagement is with the company. So to do this, you walk in the shoes of your client's customers. So if you're selling into a retail customer, for instance, then go into the store, try to see how they engage with you, research their website, visit their social media platforms, and see how they create a journey for you, and see if there's any personalization related to you. And what you try to do then, as a part of this process, you try to look for gaps or opportunities for improvement that your solution you're trying to sell to your client can deliver, and solve those gaps and fill in these opportunities that could deliver better outcomes for your client. Then you will then tie these capabilities that you're trying to sell into improving the engagement experience for that specific persona you've chosen. In this case here, for instance, a customer. And then you want to tailor your compelling proposition of your solution, your products or services, focus on outcomes specifically related to your client. And this way, it's kind of like you're presenting outcomes directly on a silver plate, making it very easy for the customer to understand why they need your services, your products, and over the competition. So in other words, customers are experts in their own industry, but not necessarily in your technology space. So you help the client understand the value that basically can help them grow in their industry. Now, let's jump into an actual example, and let me tell you a story. So as a candidate for this, it's a fictitious example about the Star Casino, obviously a very renowned operator in Sydney and Queensland, with many different facilities under the hood. This example here is something that I created for today's journey, for today's session. And a company like the Star, like many other companies, have embarked on the digital journey. And they want to get to know their customers better. They want to be able to personalize experiences for customers and enable cross-sell and upsell opportunities that not only will benefit the Star in terms of increased revenue and its different operators such as restaurants, nightclubs, accommodation, and shops, but also it can basically improve the engagement experience for a customer by delivering a more consistent experience that is personalized to their needs. So let's assume in this specific scenario that the Star doesn't know who is walking into their facilities. That would be a missed opportunity to personalize the experience and enable a better service through cross-selling and upselling. So in order to present a compelling offer, let's say if I was a technology provider or I represented a technology provider, I could go in and then present my specific independent products, but that would only focus on one part of an engagement journey for the Star's customer. So instead of having individual presentations on products focused on feature, function, and price, you can, as an icing on the cake, create a story which I put together here today. So what we're going to focus on now is the Star's customer, a character I've called John, and his family. So without further ado, I will jump into storytelling mode. So here we got John, and he's a yuppie, and when not working, he spends time with his family and occasionally plays poker with his friends. Now, one day he's in the office. He reminds himself about the anniversaries coming up with his wife, and he wants to take the family away on a little getaway trip, a weekend away, And he does a search online in between meetings. And the search takes him to the Star's Facebook page, where he's immediately prompted with a personal assistant. Now, he's going to a meeting, continues his inquiry using his mobile phone. And he can basically just inquire about the different facilities he's looking for, such as, for instance, gambling, dining, spa treatments that his wife could be interested in. And what he's surprised about is that he receives an immediate response. There's, overall information about what's offered, but it's also tailored. There's something about the ultimate caviar treatment that's on promotion at the Darling Spa. He thinks to himself, maybe this could be something relevant for my wife. Now, after a busy day, he's home in his living room. He's just trying to catch up on the news. And as he's studying the newspaper, he suddenly sees there's an ad from the Star. And he has actually forgotten all about the inquiry he made earlier because he was so busy. But this reminds him. So he goes in and checks his inbox to see if he received the response from the Star. And actually, he has. There's an email with a complete overview about accommodation, different facilities. And he browses through this and it looks good, but he's not completely convinced yet. So he decides to go back and have a look at the Star's website. And as he lands on the website, it is completely personalized. There's something about champagne, caviar, accommodation, and dining experiences. It looks great. John, he's excited, so he decides to go ahead and see if he can make a booking. And actually, he's prompted that if he downloads the app, the mobile app, Star Casino, and make the booking through that, he can get $100 off. Quite content with what he's seen, he decides to make the booking. Now, finally, the day has come, and upon arrival at the Star Casino, he walks in and feels that his mobile phone is vibrating in his pocket. He doesn't do anything about it because he's just too excited to be there. But what is really happening is that the Star knows that he has arrived. As he walks in, John and his wife are astounded to hear that the hostess calls them by first name. And John's wife is excited to hear about the promotion on the Ultimate La Prairie caviar treatment and the Darling Spa. And John, he laughs because he knows how much his wife loves caviar and spa treatments. What a great start this is. While she's enjoying the spa treatment, John is in the hotel room studying the different options at the Star Casino in the app he downloaded when he's suddenly prompted to take part in a little game. If he can find the virtual poker chips that's located around the Star Casino using his mobile phone, he can win a complimentary champagne. Now, obviously, he wants to maximize his experience while he's at the Star, so he decides to give it a go, and he has heard something about the augmented reality and these modern capabilities from his daughter, who's been playing Pokemon on various occasions, so he decides to give it a go. As he walks into the Star's facilities, he hovers his mobile phone up in the air, and suddenly he sees all these virtual poker chips. And this takes him on a journey to every corner of the Star Casino, including also a restaurant that has the right food and atmosphere that he wants to invite his wife up for dinner later. So he makes a booking there. After collecting all the chips, he goes over to the cashier to get them reimbursed as real chips, when he's then prompted with a special offer. He can get more value for money if he withdraws more cash to play for. And obviously, he's at the Star not to save money, but to have a great time, so he decides to give it a go. Now, after having so much fun finding the virtual poker chips and enjoying a wonderful dinner, he sits back with his wife in a lounge chair and enjoys this complimentary champagne he got. And he thinks to himself, after discussing a bit with his wife, what a great weekend this has been. And they decide to share this memorable moment with their friends and take a selfie and post it on Facebook with a little thanks and a little note to the Star for organizing such a beautiful weekend away. A few days later, John is contacted by a contact center representative from the Star out of the blue. And he's very excited to hear that the contact representative thanks him for writing that little note and post on Facebook and for being such a great advocate for the Star's brand. And he informs him that he has now added more loyalty points in the loyalty club. So he has reached a new tier. So John will receive better offers at a better price at any of the Star's different facilities in the future. So this was an example of a story. And obviously this was a customer journey from John, who was a potential Star customer when he Googled it first, but became a real customer. And then how Star was able to enable a much better guest experience. And it all started with basically from Google, he landed on the Star's Facebook page. And here it was a social relationship management capability that allows the Star to basically identify their potential customer here. So this is kind of like a lead generation tool. And from here, they could automate conversation and actually as a part of a customer service function through a chatbot capability and automate responses to his inquiry, reducing costs for Star to service their customers, but still at the same time, through data points, personalize the experience, such as, for instance, with the La Prairie caviar treatment. Now, obviously, in an engagement journey, it can be broken at times because different obstacle gets in the way. In this case here, John was very busy and forgot all about his inquiry. But as he was reading the newspaper later that day, he saw an ad from the Star in the newspaper, and that was enabled through a data management platform. The email he received was enabled through a marketing automation platform that sends out email or text messages at scale. He decided to download the app because he was incentivized to save $100. And when he did that, it was not only him who benefited from it, but also the Star, because as he downloads the app, the Star gets access to global location positioning. And this allows also the Star to engage with John as he walked into the Star Casino, because his mobile app engaged with or interacted with their beacons and then notified the hostess through a CRM system that John had arrived. And that enabled her to personalize the welcoming to both John and his wife, creating an outstanding first encounter. Now, John obviously had downloaded this app, and as he was browsing through the app, this app itself could have been developed through low-code application capabilities. Mobile application capabilities enabled the augmented reality experience, such as a Pokemon game, just tailored to finding virtual poker chips. That was kind of like a gamification scenario that maximized the experience for John because it took him to every corner of the Star's facilities. And obviously within hospitality, you want your customers to get most out of their stay, because in this way, it's a more memorable experience and they will remember this and maybe also even share it with their friends. Now, mobile application capabilities also allowed him to basically purchase more poker chips when he went to the cashier, because you can obviously pay through mobile. And finally, when he decided to make a statement about his experience in the post on Facebook, it was social relationship management capabilities again that basically picked up on the post and routed it into a contact center representative that used the CRM system and was able to proactively contact John. It's a great surprise and tell him about the upgrade in the next tier in the loyalty program so he can have better benefits in the future. And finally, obviously, all these capabilities are integrated together to create that consistent experience that John was after. And at the same time, the Star was interested in giving and learning more about John as a customer, which they can do with many of their customers, of course. So this was an example of a journey and a story that basically acts as icing on the cake on top of feature, function, and price of different capabilities. But as we've seen, in just 4 or 5 minutes, you're able to consolidate and summarize the outcomes in the engagement experience, creating an emotional impact on the audience. Here, the Star's representatives, but also illustrated through John and his exciting experience he had at the Star. So why do we need storytelling? Well, statistics shows that an audience that listens to a presentation that is based on statistics, only 5% remember that. So it's less impactful than stories. 63% remember stories because it creates an emotional impact on them, and it's visual, as we saw also with the storyboard I just presented to you now. You can differentiate your selling as icing on the cake through storytelling. So it's not that the corporate presentation that you use or the demo you show or the features or the functions or the price of your solution is not important, but in order to stand out against your competitors in this landscape and make it personalized to the audience so you can influence them and make them remember what really is the compelling message from your side and why you stand out, can be done through storytelling. So to do this, you want to learn as much as possible about your company, speak to stakeholders inside the company, but also try to walk in the shoes of your clients' customers. And in this way, you can look for areas of improvements or gaps that are not addressed in those moments that really matter in the engagement experience. And then tailor your proposition into redefining the engagement experience from your products or your services and why it delivers a better outcome. And then you present this future journey. This journey I presented now was after the star had bought my technology and implemented it so they could enable that better, consistent customer experience. You present it with a lot of enthusiasm to your audience and get them on board. And obviously, this is a point of view that may not be specifically accurate and in line with what the client wants to achieve, but it's a great point of view that opens up a conversation for you to learn more about their thoughts. And in this way, you collaboratively move forward in the sales process to co-create what could be aligned with their vision of the company. And company stakeholders or customer stakeholders are often impressed with the effort and research you put in that makes you stand out. So in this way, it actually helps you differentiate your selling, and it becomes a different kind of sales experience. So that's what I had to share just here now. So that's just a thank you from my side. And I hope this has acted as a bit of inspiration today.
Was that you, Michael, in the suit?
Yeah, so that's how I stand out when I go to interviews.
That's what I want.
No, I'm joking. No, yeah, so
I just had to say it. But
yeah.
look, we really thank you for taking the time to share that with our followers. I genuinely believe that the better you are at storytelling and understanding how to tell a story in the niche that you're in, and as long as you're an expert with understanding how those platforms integrate and you can really showcase value, you're definitely in a winning position. So I think the art of storytelling for every salesperson is important. If the better storyteller you are, the better salesperson you are. As long as you're honest, you're passionate, you believe in what you're selling. If you can tell that story, I'm sure you're definitely going to have more runs on the board.
Yeah, many companies have adopted also what is known as challenger sales methodology today.
The best.
Where when you go out and you really need to be an expert in your customer's business, but you also have your offering on top. So you try to teach your client what your offering can do as benefit to basically grow their business and solve their challenges. And then you tailor it obviously to them. And then the final part of the sales methodology is to take control. This can, of course, come later once you've got the customer interested in your value proposition. So what I showed today is primarily about teaching and tailoring a compelling proposition about why your solutions could make a difference to the client and solve their challenges. In this case here, if the candidate didn't know their customers that well and could then create a more flawless experience in the journey.
Makes sense. So which, with the challenger methodology, which one did you fall under? The lone wolf or the relationship builder? Were you in any of those categories?
So I helped at Oracle, I helped the sales teams adopt the challenger sales methodology. So look, I really enjoyed the challenger approach. So the challenger salesperson is a category by itself that, teach, tailor, and take control. And I think I fall into that category. I find that to be most useful in terms of complex selling. It does require a lot of homework in your research, but you also reap the fruits in terms of creating a position as a trusted advisor to your clients, so you can bring long-lasting relationships, and not just for you as a person, but also for the company, and make it less transactional focused and more strategic.
100%. Michael, I really do thank you again for taking the time to share such a wonderful presentation with us and our followers. I've learned a lot, as I always do, talking to you, and I wish you a fabulous day ahead.
Thank you so much, Reina.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, have a good day. Bye.